Sorry, my loves. My video kept cutting out, and I had to go back, and then I started it again, and then it stopped again. So hopefully, this will continue recording. I'm gonna have to pay attention to make sure that the seconds and the minutes are being timed. But where I finished off was saying that once we become adults, it is important for us to no longer blame anyone else for us being hurt by toxic personalities. And the reason why I say that is because when we finally get to the root of it, when we get to the core, we'll realize that certain triggers are triggers from early life. And we've allowed, because maybe we're pushovers, maybe we're empaths or empathetic, and we feel bad, or we're people pleasers and we don't want to look bad and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and we want everyone to like us and love us, and that's not realistic. That's not real life. And I say that from experience because I've always tried to do the right thing, be the bigger person. Have you guys ever heard that? Oh no, just be the bigger person and walk away, and don't take it so personally. And these are words that I guess maybe some therapists would consider gaslighting, or maybe not even gaslighting, but things that people should just, get over it. It's okay. So and so is toxic. You should be able to allow them in your home, or allow them in your business, or you work with them and you just put up with it, or you're married to them, or you're dating them and you just put up with it because this is just how so and so is, and it's okay. It's just the way they are, and this is normal. But no, it's not normal. And we need to start realizing that toxic is toxic, manipulative is manipulative, and guilt trips and woe is me's and a lot of the victim mentality. These people create this whole story and they become the victim, and they're always the victim, and they're always charming and very good at making everyone else feel sorry for them. So you have to notice these things and realize, is this something that you're enabling, willingly, subconsciously, or maybe just going along to get along? So it is your responsibility now as an adult. And even if you're 21, I don't consider you a true adult until 30, because we have not really gone through different phases yet. And at 30, we have experienced a lot more life. At 2021, you can be more forgiven. 24, 25, if you're still in toxic relationships and allow, or people still manipulate and guilt trip you, and they play victim and they do this and that, you're still young enough that I won't completely say that, you need to know it. But once you're 30 plus and you continue to allow these types of personalities and behaviors in your life and in your energy, now it's your job, your responsibility to cut those people out of your life. So some people will say, well, I can't cut some of these people off. I married this person and we have children, or this is a mom or a dad, or a close relative, an uncle, a cousin, sister, brother. Okay, so you then have to, when it comes to a marriage, you're gonna need therapy, because you need to start working on your self-esteem. And you don't stay in a toxic and abusive relationship, even if it's emotional and verbal abuse and mental manipulation, mind games. You don't stay in these types of environments because of children, because now you're you're allowing the children to grow up and they're susceptible to also being abused in the same manner that you're being abused. And so when do we break the cycle? If you continue to stay, that's not really an excuse. Well, if you say, hey, Em, but I can't afford to do this or to move out, and he's the sole breadwinner or she's the sole breadwinner, know that these personalities do things to have you become codependent on them, relying on them for financial stability. And then they'll come home and they'll say you're worthless, or you're not good enough, or you don't do anything, or you don't have a real job, or you can't leave me because you don't have a job. And men and women do this, because women are just as toxic. So people give men a bad rap, but women are very toxic, very. So what happens is that we stay, and then our kids now take a little bit of that abuse. And you're siding with your parent, your mom or your dad. You're against me, you don't love me, and that's how you feel. And then they'll guilt the children, and they'll do that to them, and they'll mess them up for life, that they're gonna need therapy when they're older, and they're gonna be the children that are unsure of themselves because they've had someone twist and manipulate what emotions are valid and what emotions are not, which ones are acceptable and which ones are not. And these children will be walking on eggshells because, well, what if so-and-so, mom or dad, get upset with me if I say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, or if I defend my other parent? And now these children are going out into college or into real life, and they're unsure of themselves. Some of them never recover from that. Some of them do. Some of them say, that was my childhood, da 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 da, I'm healing and I'm gonna go out for my dreams and live my life. Some of them dive into work and they become workaholics, and they don't live balanced lives because they're trying to heal something or crave to do something to get validation or approval or something that they're never going to get from that parent. So if you say to me, I'm staying because I'm married and we have children, I say to you, please work on establishing your self-confidence. Get yourself a job. If you can, go to school part-time for something that you can do quickly, that you can earn a living from, either it be real estate, get a mortgage broker license, get certified to be an EMT, or a nurse practitioner, not a nurse practitioner, an LCN, or any type of. You can take the dog.
It's me. How am I taking the dog?
Well, I'm doing a video, so sorry. So then also you have scenarios where they're family members, and so you feel responsible or bad if you say, I'm not gonna spend the holidays with so and so because they're toxic. And then you have other people that'll tell you, but that's just who they are and how they behave, and it's okay, and don't ruin the holidays for me, or don't ruin the party or the celebration. And then there's guilt trips all around. So you'll see it in many ways, in many aspects. Different people will try to pull the wool over your eyes and tell you this is normal. And then you'll hear from other people when you share about it, and they're like, that's the normal Latino family or Portuguese family, or that's typical Chinese culture, Indians. And you hear from so many cultures, and they say, well, that's normal, or Italian families are like that, and this group, and that's just how we are, and that's just Uncle Benny, and that's just Cousin Janet, like, this is just normal. This is who they are. This is how they've been all their lives. And, we can't do anything about it. And so I call bullshit. There's plenty you can do. You can say yes or no to being in toxic gatherings with toxic people that stress you out, give you anxiety just to be in the same room or the same home with. It's not healthy for your mental. It's not healthy for your emotional. And what happens is these things start to brew. And like I said, they come deep rooted because maybe you grew up in an environment that was similar. Maybe not all toxic, maybe not all bad, but things that were similar. So then what happens is you attract that in a partner. And then you wind up living with that type of partner, or you marry, whatever your situation is. And now you have a codependent relationship. And what happens when two toxic people cling or cleave to one another? These two toxic people don't want to leave one another, even though they know it's toxic, even though they know there's no longer love or respect or growth there. We hold on because of fear of being alone. And I was with someone for many years that was afraid of being alone. And it was important to know that when they did move on, they said, I did it because I wanted to hurt you. I wanted to get you back for hurting me. Now you can tell that this person did not heal. This person did not do the work. Because if you were trying to move on to another relationship because you wanted to hurt the person you were with in the past, to get them back, that's toxic behavior. That's petty. And then on top of that, to now move into that new relationship and bash the person you were with before because it didn't go according to plan, that's also toxic. It is still, you're bringing that same energy into your new relationship. So I say to anyone, if you have childhood things that you haven't healed from, if you were married or in a long-term relationship where there was codependency or there was just didn't work, and you left one another, give yourself time to heal before you decide you're going to move into a new relationship, because feeling that desperation of needing to be in a relationship, craving that attention from another soul because you don't want to be alone or fear being alone, you go backwards, or you pick partners that are also unhealed because they're filling a void and they're fixing something that I haven't worked on and I haven't dealt. And maybe they overgive because they're also someone that needs to overplease someone because they're a people pleaser. And so now this new person comes in, it's all rainbows and butterflies in the very beginning. But when the bricks start to get loose and the foundation starts to crumble, you realize that there was not a solid foundation in the very beginning. The foundation was rocky from the start. And so it's like there's a scripture that says you cannot build your house on a foundation that is not solid. And in that same manner, everything in our lives goes with that same lesson. We must know that our foundation needs to be solid. It needs to be rooted and grounded in the right soil. Just like a seed, you cannot put a seed in just any type of soil and expect it to grow. You can't put it in a nuclear waste power plant because it's going to be toxic if it even grows. It may grow, but it's going to be a toxic plant, maybe a mutated plant. And in that same manner, when we take crap from this relationship, well, first it stems in childhood, and then from childhood we find partners to be with that we feel are going to make us feel safe, and this one loves me so much, and maybe they love bomb you in the beginning because they want to secure that supply, because a lot of times we fall into traps where we are with toxic or narcissistic people that trap us. They love bomb us, make us think it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful in the very beginning, because we need them to adore us, to validate us. We crave their attention. But in the very beginning, it's perfect, it's great, it's beautiful. And even 10 years it can go, 15 years, and you have arguments and you have drama, but you have some good moments too. But when you look back and you remove the blinders or the rose-tinted glasses, you look back and you're like, was I living in a bubble? Because now, when you realize what you were doing and you start to do the inner healing and you start to uproot the things that no longer serve you, and you heal the childhood wounds or things that you've experienced in your past, then you start to say, sheesh, I really thought we had a firm, solid foundation. And you realize that you were building that house upon a foundation that was not solid. And we were just clinging or cleaving to each other because we saw hurt in each other. And, you make me feel good, I make you feel good. So we're happy and we're in love and everything's beautiful and peachy, but it isn't. And when we realize that it is, and we look back at 10 years, 15, 20 years, even over 20 years, people have been married 30 years, 40 years, and realize, oh my God, we stayed together because of the kids. We stayed together because we got used to each other, because we were able to pay the bills, and we were afraid to be on our own. Meanwhile, they were living double lives. They were living with their family, but sometimes people were entertaining other people behind closed doors, behind the scenes. And you never find out until the end, and then everything comes to light. Or people have been telling you, hey, I saw so-and-so flirting with this person, and I heard that so-and-so was doing that, and you don't believe it. And maybe you do believe it, but you're like, I'm doing me too. So if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. And people stay in open relationships, or they make them open relationships because they've just been cheating and they just don't really care, and we're staying together for the kids. And it's really gross. It's really so bad that you destroy your family, because if you do have children involved, people think that children don't understand what's going on. They will grow to resent you as they mature, and they get to see the abuse that you allowed for yourself and for them, because they remember the tears that you forgot about. They remember the fights that you don't remember. They remember the words that were used and how they made them feel. Were they scared when there were arguments between you and your person? And now these kids grow up unsteady. Like I said, they're unsettled, they're uncertain of themselves, and should I do this, should I that? Or they rebel and they decide, we're gonna do anything and everything because I can't trust my parents, because my parents are this or that, and they go crazy craving the love and attention and affection and the nurturing that they did not get at home because you guys were too busy battling it out, that they crave it somewhere else. They crave it with addictions. They either food addictions, drug addictions, pornography addictions, gambling, anything, being pathological liars. And sometimes you raise little narcissists too, because you give them a lot of things and then they grow up to be entitled, and not because they're entitled they are automatically a narcissist, but because you let them do their own thing, and then they feel that they can run the show. And I don't know, there's just a lot. or they're abused so much that they continue to cycle and they continue to abuse, and they get into a relationship and they do the same thing they saw, and the pattern continues. And maybe they treat you that way too, and your eldest son is talking to you the way your ex-husband spoke to you. Why? Because that's all he knows. And if dad did it to mom and mom never stopped it, well, I'm going to keep doing it and I'm going to treat mom the same way. But if you lead by example and they see the dad or the mom treating one another with mutual respect, now there is a beautiful example. And I'm not saying that people are not going to argue and that there's not going to be conflicts in the home, because nothing is perfect. But if it is constant where people feel unsafe, children feel like they don't know whether mom or dad is going or coming. Like I said, women do this too. Men get a lot of negative talk and, oh, baby daddies and they're cheaters and they're womanizers and they're losers and deadbeats. But women are the same. So let's not forget that women also are vicious and can be controlling and conniving and will raise their sons to be messed up to their women, and sons that do not respect women because they hate their mom so much, or they become too close to mom that they are codependent to their mom and they're called mama's boys. And then you have kids that are mama's kids and what have you, or daddy's kids, mother, son, daughter, whatever. You create these weird dynamics. And I don't mean weird to be mean, but I'm just saying that we have to do better for the future, for our next generation, because we're living in a world that people are entitled, people are disrespectful, people are killing one another. It's just so toxic. People are so angry. People are, frustrated, and they're frustrated at home. They're frustrated with siblings, and, we're not helping our kids and we're not helping one another by pacifying these kinds of behaviors. And, let's allow so and so to bully their cousins and to pick on them, or, because sometimes bullies in school are bullied themselves. And I'll notice that 9 times out of 10, a bully in school is one that is not given the love at home, is being bullied at home, left alone to do whatever, or is abused. There's various situations, and sometimes none of that is present, and the child just grows up to hate the world and hate everyone. And that happens too, and there's nothing the mother or father can do about that. That's just something that, I don't know, it could be something that just happens. Sometimes, like they say, the serial killer or the killer gene is in the family, and if grandpa killed, then the son can kill. There was this series on Apple TV. I think it was only one season. It was called Protecting Jacob or something like that, where I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's been out for like 2 years. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, you can turn this off if you don't want to know about protecting or defending Jacob. And so the show, the parents, the father was an attorney, always working, yada, yada. They have this whole picture perfect life on the outside, and their son is being accused of killing a friend or a kid in school. And no one believes that he could do such a thing. But all the little friends, as they're being interviewed, they're like, no, Jacob said he hated this kid and da-da-da-da-da. And the father's like, there's no way. My son is a great kid. He's a quiet kid. He's a good student, da-da-da. There's no way. And then they test him for a gene, and they find out, because the grandfather was in jail for having been a murderer. And they said, well, let's test the kid, and it turns out he had the gene too, and he was also good at lying. He was a pathological liar, and he had told his parents he did not do this, and he did. And again, this is a show on Apple TV, Defending or Protecting Jacob, something like that. And it was crazy to me that that could be genetic. So sometimes things can be genetic, mental health, mental illness, things like that can just be something supposedly that are genetic. And you have Christians and people that believe that it's demons and that you can pray them out of somebody. And I don't think that's always the case. A lot of us do not understand anatomy and chemistry, biology, and for us to just dismiss it and say it's a spirit, it's reckless, because we are being fed foods that are changing our hormones and our makeup and causing people to have more anger and rage. They're pushing different television things to stimulate different behaviors in people. So there is something to be said about what's going on all around us, that we can't just say no and think, oh, we're just gonna pray this away and the power of Christ and all this. Like, I'm no disrespect, because I believe in the power of prayer and all of that stuff. And I do believe that people have spiritual warfare and attacks, but we also have to realize that there is a time and a place for everything under the sun. And we have to notice that things have changed, and the more we are like, nah, it's just this, or it's just, we don't know everything. So anyway, my loves, all this to say, we have to work on ourselves. We have to heal ourselves. And the reason why I am currently by myself is because I have continuously picked a type of personality to be a part of my life that is not healed, because I was unhealed as well. And I was searching for something in them that I needed to heal and fix for myself. So my expecting someone else to fix or fill a void is not healthy. And to continue to try to date someone and find someone that can meet me halfway, or can meet, you can say, not my requirements, but what it is that I'm looking for, I had to do a lot of work. And so now I can't say that I'm 100% healed, but I know my triggers and I understand what I was doing in the past and the types of personalities I was dating or getting to know. And it was not healthy, because it was familiar to me because of things that I seen along the way, so to speak. And so when you see certain behaviors and certain patterns in other people, you tend to feel comfortable in that, and you make bad choices when it comes to partners. So if you're not healed, I recommend that you take this time to heal yourself. If you're not in a relationship right now, heal yourself, heal your heart, sit in silence. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to go on a date by yourself. Go to your favorite little restaurant and order yourself your food. If you want to be on your phone, bring some headphones or AirPods or whatever, and just be in your own little world. Take yourself out. And if you want, stay off the phone and just look at the people around you. Enjoy soup and salad and a burger, whatever you want. And just treat yourself. Go to a spa. Get a facial. Get a manicure. Get a pedicure. Do something for yourself. If you like to work out, then go to the gym. The gyms are very inexpensive these days. Do that. Go on Groupon and find yourself an affordable massage if you really want a massage. If you're not into that, go to yoga. People are all witchy, oh, yoga's evil and yoga's that. Listen, it's strengthening your core. You're stretching your body. You know, people think everything is evil, but I think that's that's a scary position to hold, because everything was made for a purpose. And so if everything is evil, then what are we doing? So we have to be very mindful. Of course, be careful with what you dive into, what you get yourself into. Don't go into a cult. Stay away from cults, because you're very easily influenced and, sorry to say, manipulated. And you're just looking for your tribe and to feel like you're a part of something. But just be very careful, because we are susceptible to the influences of people that are strong and they have a powerful position. So just do the inner working, and when you're ready, you'll know. And if you have triggers, you'll also know. And I hope that one day the person that I wind up with has also done the work and has also done the healing, because I am trying to break generational curses and generational patterns, so that if I have a child or adopt a child or help them raise children of their own, that we can nourish them, nurture them, encourage one another as well in a relationship, as it should be. Not bash one another, not constantly be at war. You shouldn't be at war with your partner or your family or your loved ones or your friends or at work. If your job is has toxic people around you, then try to search. There's a lot of jobs on Indeed. And if it's less money, figure out if you can afford a 50 cent or $1 less an hour, because peace of mind is priceless. And what you're doing to your body is really, you're destroying the temple, myself included. We're destroying the temple because we're overly abusing our emotional body. And then it will influence how our physical body endures through all kinds of things. And that's why you see people get sick very often, because they're very stressed out, they're overwhelmed, and whatever they eat is not helping to heal them, because their gut is off balance, mine included. And you see people sick very often, and then they'll turn out to have colds or flus or autoimmune or just all kinds of things. But it all stems from trauma. Lupus, trauma, cancer, sugar, the way we eat, trauma, because we'll eat things to make us feel better, and we're trying to feel better because we're going through something. We don't heal, we don't do the right thing, and it becomes a vicious cycle and pattern where we abuse our body, we abuse ourselves, we do not heal, and then we continue the cycle. We get sick, we're sickly, we're not happy, we're unhealthy, and then we wind up in relationship with also unhealthy people, and the cycle continues. So it's paramount that we heal collectively. And I say collectively because there's a lot of us out here that are not well, and we're dealing with bad patterns, and we blame our partner, our loved one, or this one or that one. But we need to look at ourselves and not to be negative on yourself and talking down, oh, I'm so stupid, because no, your body hears all the negative speech. So do not speak negative to yourself. Speak life to yourself. I am smart, I am wise, I am healed, I am in a process of transformation. And you are. And ask the Creator to help you do that. And you will be healed, you will be helped. But trust the process. It's going to be hard. There's going to be lonely days. There's going to be times where you want to cry and you want to give in and you want to call that person and you want to invite them to come back in your life, and you just put the phone down and walk away. Find something to do. Get a hobby. Go to the supermarket, buy some of the ingredients to your favorite dish. If you're not into cooking, then order your favorite thing. Do something you enjoy. Go to the park, watch birds, feed the birds. Go visit a cat cafe if you like cats, but you can't have them. If you like dogs, go to a dog park and watch other people with their dogs. Find something to do. I love you all, and I truly, genuinely hope that we can all heal together. Shalom.